Brilliant. Okay, everyone, welcome to such a cool evening to be on the beach, sunning yourself. But we're here at Planning and Licensing on the 24th of June, trying not to melt. So apologies, Duncan.
The only apologies we have this evening are from Councillor North.
Councillor Adlam's just coming in through the door any second now. Interests, we do have an interest which will, Councillor Williamson will remove herself from the room as and when. Or has she got her, can she get in? Yes, she is. Hi, Karen, come on in. Meeting management issues. We have people in the gallery this evening. Welcome. And no doubt you'll be talking later. We'll get to you in a minute. Right, minutes. I'm happy to propose the minutes. Has anyone got any issues with the minutes? Sandy is seconding. All those in favour of the minutes? Yeah, that was everybody. Matters arising from the minutes? No.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Meeting management issues. The calendar is on the agenda.
Would that be all right? Because it's not a pressing matter. Would that be all right that we carry that forward? It takes a little. No. I know, but I'm asking rather than telling.
It's March 2027, which is a bit frightening.
Yeah, it is. It's just that. Well, we won't go into it. We'll look at it properly on another evening. Okay. Brilliant.
Okay. So, storming forward. Open session for electors. Nuki, as I said, we have audience. So, was it Mr. and Mrs. Harvey? Was that right for the first one? Wanting to talk about which application is it, Duncan? The yoga studio. Which application number is that?
That's application number 1, I think.
Application number 1. Wonderful. Okay. So, are you going to speak about your application? Brilliant. Okay. Well,
I've got a number of slides which are what I was going to show you.
Poignant.
But
okay.
I think it'll help if
we
Mr.
look at them at the same time.
If Mr. Harvey speaks to those.
Okay.
If they'll open.
So would you like to take a seat, Mr. Harvey, and then you press the red button, and you're meant to have 3 minutes, and then we have the opportunity to ask questions, and you can reply within that time, and then we'll move your application up the agenda, and then we'll discuss it, and then you're not meant to interact with that then. No heckling. But we might. If we answer a question, maybe you could give a nod or like, you know. All right. Okay. Over to you then, Mr. Harvey.
Perfect. So this image shows the proposed street scene along Pentire Avenue. The lower image shows the extant permission that we have, and the upper image shows the proposal that is before you today. As you can see, the scale and massing has been significantly reduced. The overall ridge height has been lowered by more than 3 meters. And from the roadside, that reduction exceeds 4.5 meters lower. Can I ask for the next slide? This new ridge height now sits comfortably alongside the neighboring buildings and aligns with the lower of our 2 neighbors. The site sits above Fistral Beach, and this reduction in height significantly reduces the building's visual impact on the skyline when viewed from the beach as well. Can I ask for slide 3, please? As you can see, the building's been pulled further away from the road, creating more green space at the front and reducing that feeling of overdevelopment along Pentire Avenue. The proposal also includes over 10 metres of native hedging and tree planting to support local wildlife and improve biodiversity. A major benefit of this proposal is it reuses the existing 1920s building, and this is preferable to demolition as it preserves the embodied carbon already contained within the building. Following discussions with our neighbours on the opposite side of the road to us, we've ensured that their valued sea glimpses either side of our building are maintained, which they're extremely grateful for. and the rear extension now tapers towards the centre of the plot, creating a greater sense of openness for our neighbours either side of us. Could I ask for the next slide, please? We've spoken with the owners of numbers 1 to 3 Seaside, the properties below the site, and their principal concern, which we both shared, was privacy. As you can see from this slide, we've designed privacy into the scheme, ensuring that users of the first floor yoga studio are unable to overlook the neighbouring properties or their gardens below. Can I have the next slide, please? So this proposal actually reduces our yoga student capacity by over 50% compared to the previously approved scheme. By relocating our third studio space and the holiday accommodation elsewhere in Cornwall, we're able to significantly reduce the scale of development on this site and deliver a scheme that is more sustainable, more environmentally responsible, and more appropriate for its surroundings. Thank you for listening, and I'm open to any questions that you've got.
Go for it, Joanna. Yeah.
I like this. I wandered down to have a look at it today. I noticed you've already started doing something on the roof. The scaffolding is up. Is that as a
Yeah, I thought that might be a question.
You already have planning permissions. That's not a problem.
Yes, so at the moment we're replacing the roof. It got a lot of storm damage, and so we're replacing the old asbestos tiles with slate, nice new slate. There will be two parts to this build. The first part will be get the studio built, and then second part, which is our residential bit, which is the roof replacement, as you see. We may or may not do that further down the line. It may stay as a traditional hipped roof. We may take the decision, we wanted to have the option of doing that, but that's at least 10 years down the line, which is why we're doing a full re-roof now of the slate roof.
Effectively, just wanted to stop leaking.
Yeah, in a nutshell, yes.
The only thing that would have concerned me, and I'm not quite sure I understood your diagram, was the overlooking over seaside cottages. How are you preventing? I mean, all I can see is a line there. I mean,
Yes, so if you see the ground floor extends out much further than the first floor. Now, there are no windows on the ground floor. It's a hot yoga studio, so we don't need any windows at all. And then that obscures the view from the first floor at that angle, so that all the first floor can see is the roof of the property below.
I see, so they look out over Fistral and they don't.
Exactly.
I mean, they wouldn't be interested anyway. So I hadn't realised there were no windows on the lower bit. It's a bit of a shame, really, because but it would sort of.
Yeah,
no, that's fine.
as a hot yoga studio, we don't need any windows for it. We want it to be energy efficient and
Keep it cool.
keep it hot.
Brilliant. So where you have the person with the line sight, is that,
Yes.
are they windows? Is that going to be a terrace that you go out on?
No, that's not going to be a terrace you can go out on. There is a 1 metre balcony, which is also preserving that privacy view, and the rest will not be able to be walked on. It'll just be a green roof.
Okay. Oh, green, right, okay. Brilliant. Yeah. Any other questions? Sorry, Sandy? No? No? Oh, yeah, Karen?
Just wondered what the main bulk of the building is going to be used for. Is it residential or
Yes,
apartments?
myself and my wife will live in the old house,
Yeah.
and then the yoga studio will be sort of the new build aspect that will be really energy efficient and newer materials. But yeah, we plan on renovating the
That will
old
be
building.
your business, the yoga studio?
Our business, yes,
Yeah.
and then we'll live in the residential
Right,
part.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Is there currently a business running from there?
Next door to it. So yeah, we've been operating for about 13 years,
Okay.
and this has been a long time in the making, and we're really excited that we're ready to go with it.
Is the business operate? Is that part of the planning application, Duncan? In terms of multi-use, or sorry?
Yes,
Is it?
this application is for both the yoga studio and the residential. element.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So within Bannock, right? Okay, wonderful. Anything else? Anybody? No. Thank you. Right. So we're going to move this up the agenda now. So I propose we move PA 26/03602 up to now. Seconded. All those in favour? Brilliant. Thank you. Duncan, over to you.
Okay.
Oh, we got an infinity corridor.
Okay.
Don't worry, audience, we'll get
It's
there.
like a sci-fi film, isn't it?
Okay. It's going to do exactly the same thing again, isn't it?
Just need to minimise the window.
Right.
Can you minimise the little man?
Yeah.
That's Duncan.
That is me. That is me, actually. Yes. Right then. Here. Right then. Finally. Here. Right. Here we go. So. Yeah, the red pointer is pointing to number 18. To the west, we have the Seascape Apartments. To the east, we have the Guelva Llewellyn Terrace of townhouses. I think that's the right way round. I did note on the comments that there was, last time I looked, there was the usual from site allocations and there was one public support. The description breaks down basically into two key elements, which is the change of use and extensions at ground floor and part of the first floor to create yoga studios, and alterations to the existing building, including vertical extension to form a residential dwelling. So with the yoga studio and the residential. Have a look at the block plan. Right, I'm just going to make that a little larger. So if you can, hopefully you can clearly see the number 18 there. So that's the existing footprint of the building. So the application is going to extend the footprint of the building mainly in a rearwards direction. So that's the footprint at the moment. That's it extending, as I say, mainly backwards. Just in quick bit in terms of the background, there have been a number of applications to this site over time. There is an extant permission on it, which dates from 2020. That involved full demolition of the building to create holiday units, a home for the owners, and the yoga studio. Ocean Flow Yoga operates currently from one of the townhouses along here at Guelva Llewellyn. I think that's correct. Yeah. So the current application seeks to create a residential dwelling and a yoga studio, so no holiday apartments with this one, okay? Open the design and access statement, because there's quite a lot of useful stuff in here. So these thumbnail images that we're looking at here, they're the street-facing elevations. I think we've already had a quick look at them, of the extant consent at the bottom there, and and what had previously been approved. So, as you can see, this sort of illustrates the point that there has been plenty of planning history. The one at the bottom is the extant consent. This image gives us what they described as a site analysis. I thought that the main feature here was just being the sort of the line of sight, which looks over these properties, the seaside properties behind, and out kind of over Fistral and beyond. We'll look at the elevations. I'll tell you what we haven't done, and that's had a look at the street view, which would actually be quite useful at this point before we look at the elevations. So, yeah, as you can see, it's a property, I don't know, dating from maybe 1920, something like that.
It's really old for Pentwell.
Yeah.
1920s is old for Pentwell.
Classic interwar housing.
Yeah, and so we've got the north elevation on the left. That's the rear, and the south facing is the street facing. This one here. So if we have a look at the proposed, obviously these are going to look very, very different from what we're looking at the moment. So that is your north elevation. So this is the rear of the building. We looked at a sectional drawing a short while ago, and we will look at that again. But as Councillor Kenny pointed out, there's no windows at that ground floor level there, and this is the large window that had the little figure on, where sort of looking out and over the top of the properties behind. Street-facing image is in a little more detail here. So as you can see, there is quite a change from the existing. In fact, I mean, despite much of the original building being retained, I think meaningful comparison between the original building and the current proposal is perhaps less important than comparing it with the extant consent. So I'm probably just going to err towards looking at the current application versus the permission that they've already got. Okay. Design and access statement again. Just going to make that a little bit larger again. I think we've already sort of got a feel for the difference between the extant consent and the current proposal, and I think, as we've already seen, the red dotted line shows the outline of what they currently have permission for. So there's a significant reduction in the scale and mass. And I think if we come down a little, we can see a similar device has been used on the side elevation. And then usefully, I'll just make that slightly smaller. We have this very useful street elevation, the one at the top showing the current proposal, and the drawing at the bottom showing the approved application in relation to its surroundings. Have a quick look at the east elevations. Have a quick look at at what's there at the moment. As I say, it is going to look very, very different from that. The proposed east elevation, then, as I say, very, very different. Although I think, as we're aware, the applicants are hoping to keep a great deal of the existing building. So that's your east elevation. That's the one facing the townhouses.
I just asked me. So, oh, sorry. This is a balcony here, isn't? This is at the front of the house, and it's open, isn't it? I think. I'm just wondering, with the property that's this side of it, how that corresponds to windows and things from the neighbour, or if they've got a balcony there, as to whether it just needs some screening at either end.
We'll have a closer look at it when we look at the floor plans.
Okay.
You may be right, but I think that the floor plans would be useful at that point. Yeah. So yeah, that's the side that's facing the townhouses, and then the seascape properties are on the other side. And this is the side that will be facing them. So let's see if I can shift that out of the way a little bit.
So that's the Facing onto Pentar Crescent side, isn't it?
Yes.
In which case you wouldn't be able to see anything because of the seascape properties completely block it out.
Yeah, but it's whether...
The other side is the Guelva.
If you want to, are you talking about new views? Is that your concern?
No,
No.
it's sort of like noise or over...
Who is so focused onto Fistral? Because I had a look at that, and the balconies going along the back of Guelva, or whatever they call it, but they're facing the sea. So, and I think the same is true of this one. The balcony will be there, but nobody's going to be worrying to look. I would have thought it was very unlikely that you'd bother to look at the not very pretty building to the east.
Just
You're
to
just thinking
confirm,
about having some sort of separator at the balcony end. Is that what you're talking about on
Yeah,
the
it was
east end?
just either end of the balcony ends, because I mean that's quite common when we have a look at that for, yeah.
I just wanted to confirm as well. There are windows on this this west elevation facing seascape. There are already views at ground and first floor level facing that way as well. So there's no new views being created from the windows.
We might need a barrier at either end of the balcony. Doubt it.
Go back.
The way that, yeah, as to how deep this building is, because if it's set back, is that balcony going to be then actually in quite proximity with the balcony that they have on the other side and their neighbours? That's all I'm asking, because I think it was said that they've set it back further from the road to give them more garden space at the front. Yeah. And a street view then from the sides, just to see what's there.
There isn't any.
So you'll see that the building line
No.
is set further back,
Yeah.
and that's not moving.
So, and then sort of like the balcony that's at the back is probably not going to interfere with this either, I don't think. So, I mean, I was just putting it out there because that's often a common issue that we have, but no, that's fine. Yeah.
No worries. Right. What was I going to look at next? Page 15 of the design and access statement. What have we got there? It's in that 16. Right, yeah. Well, this is just going back to that sectional view. We've already had a quick look at it, but let's make that slightly larger again. Yeah, so as we see, we've got a few things going on here. We've got the outline of one of the neighbouring properties. We've got the red outline of what is permitted, and as you see, you've got this line of sight that's looking down, and shouldn't be interfering with the seaside properties. Have a look at the floor plans. I think that they're probably going to be quite useful. I'm not going to dwell on these because they are changing a lot. But it's what you're looking at is really a floor plan of a residential dwelling house, which is set to change quite a lot. We'll look at the ground floor, the proposed ground floor first. So, parking at the front of the building, so that's the front, and the right side of the screen is the back. So, that shows the ground floor is largely set out for the yoga studios. You've got 3 entrances at the front of the building, sort of going top to bottom. You've got the main entrance to Ocean Yoga, Ocean Flow Yoga, the front residential entrance, and the entrance to the garden yoga room down at the bottom here. So in addition to that as well, we've got 2 residential parking spaces. So this is largely given over to the yoga studio. As you see, you'd come in the entrance hall here and then up these stairs to the residential parts of the building, which we shall look at next.
Sorry, Duncan, can we just go back to that again?
Yeah, of course.
Is there any ramp access for this? I know it's on a slope because all I'm seeing at the moment is steps everywhere. Is there any ramp access?
Not that I'm aware of, not that
Right.
I've picked up in the plans. Then beyond that, you've got a green roof, and we've got other sections of green roof at first floor level as well. We've got a roof plan. Sorry, we've got, bear with. We've got the second floor, which is the residential living space. This also benefits from small outdoor balconies stroke terraces. We've got green roofs again, as you can see, and there's a mono-pitch roof over Vinyasa, which is this large kind of white element here. And then we'll look at the roof plan, and that's perhaps relevant to the balcony that you were referring to earlier at the front, because you'll see that if we go back, you've got, I don't know, maybe 1.5 metre terrace here, but it's actually quite well enclosed by the roof as well. And then there's a mono-pitch roof there that covers most of the south-facing residential terrace and a little bit of the one that's north-facing out to the sea. I've spoken far too much about this, but finally, the parking. There are 2 residential spaces. There are no spaces for the yoga customers. There is sort of a mitigation put forward on the part of the applicants, and that is that they are running an existing yoga business in this location that has no parking spaces, and the assertion is that their customers are already locally based and have always found alternative ways of travelling to their yoga sessions. So the case put forward is that this is a yoga studio where people aren't using cars to get there, hence there isn't, it's argued that there isn't a need for parking on the site. Over.
I see on the elevations that there's solar panels on the south side as well, indicated on that. Right. Questions? Oh, I think Joe just beat you to it, Joanna. Joe and then Joanna.
This may be a question for the ether as well as the floor. Maybe if I call the spirits. Was it my understanding, people help me out here, in the presentation, did I overhear that the number of clients or the spaces within the studio would actually be reducing to the current business plan?
I heard was a reduced capacity, I presume, from their previous planning application, not necessarily from their current business.
Right. I mean, I'm thinking about Duncan's about the offset of the impact of potential parking at the moment, and whether there will be a change in the parking requirement. I mean, it's great that some of their customers are walking. I would guess that not 100% of them walk, and I'm just thinking about the community impact now versus the community impact with the new business plan.
I think in August there are never enough parking spaces on Pentire, but there are street parking bays. So Pentire Crescent has got 3 or 4 at the top, plus at the bottom of Pentire Crescent, which is the road to the west. There are 4 or 5 there. And they also go up Pentire Avenue. I've not had any complaints at all or any problems with the fact that the yoga studio is there, because parking's hell in Pentire. And I don't think this is going to make a huge amount of difference. I agree with you. I think people will be driving there, but there are alternatives to park. And other than sort of July, August, there are usually spare spaces around. I love this. I think it's. I wasn't a fan of the last application, but I didn't find anything wrong with it in planning terms. I think it's great that they're keeping the old house. I hadn't realised how old it was. I think it's smaller than it was before. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I just wondered about the capacity, really, because it seems to me there are lots of separate yoga studios in this new plan. And that would suggest to me that there is going to be an increase in clientele, customers using the yoga studios. And I had a little bit of a concern about the parking, because people will be driving there. But also, is there any problem with sound? Like, are they soundproof? Do we know whether the studios are?
All the grunts.
Is there a problem
that would be a building control matter.
Control.
I suspect. I mean, from the yoga classes that I've been to, it tends to be quite quiet.
Right. Okay. I don't know, because there's a
They tend to
number of
like it if you
studios.
lie on the floor and be quiet.
They've got potential to do other kinds of classes like spinning, or it doesn't necessarily have to be yoga, does it?
I don't think that's a whole different. That's a whole different with equipment and stuff.
There are mechanisms in place if much noise, if the property was taken over by people who were axe throwing or something like that. There are mechanisms in place that would deal with that.
I just wondered what the increase
concern.
in studio space was.
It's
really.
not in terms of noise. It's not. It shouldn't. That shouldn't be a consideration.
Right. Okay. I just put it out there, but
I think because it is halving the capacity of what they've already got planning permission for,
yeah.
then it's not. We can't really say anything about that, because they've got the capacity already permission for double the capacity. So from what they're proposing here, so I don't. Yes, I can see that parking is. I mean, it is. I think this. Is there still a bus goes out to Pentire? It's on the bus route as well, isn't it? Yeah, and people that tend to do yoga tend to be more cycling, walking people, maybe. Yeah.
I would say it's a much improvement from the last.
Yes, I
planning.
think it's
Absolutely.
yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
kept the character.
Yeah. Can Nick go first?
Yeah,
Duncan. Yeah, Nick.
All I was going to say is that is a vast improvement on the last one. Just looking at it, visually, it's so much nicer. I'd actually like to make a proposal. My proposal would be no objection, subject to no overlooking on the surrounding areas, is what I would put.
Yeah. Well, if we can get to that in a minute. Well, does anybody want a seconder for that? Joanna can second that. Okay. So we'll vote on that in a minute. I think there's still some other comments to say. So Duncan.
What I was going to ask was, Joanna, do you remember what the Town Council's response was back in 2020? I know it's a while ago.
I think it was no objection.
Yeah, I don't think we objected, did we?
I think I read in the system design document that we didn't object to it last time. I think there's no objection to gritted teeth from my perspective.
Yeah. Joe?
So we're still, we're debating the motion put forward to us, which is no objection subject to overlooking.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm happy to carry on with that discussion. Although what I would say is that if that motion falls, I will propose support.
Okay. So the only concern I have is disabled access. New builds are meant to have disabled access. And whether there can be room for some sort of external lift, you get outdoor lifts, because you probably haven't got enough length gradient for a ramp, I don't think. So that is my only concern at the moment. So yeah. And as far as I know, with businesses, then they legally have to have disabled access.
I'd just point out that it's not a new build, though.
No, because it's an adaptation. So, yeah. Yes, so it's an adaptation of it. It's not a complete new build as it was before. Yeah, can we have the usual G2 then for bird boxes and that sort of thing as well? If we can have some swift holes in there in bricks and B bricks and stuff, and water collection measures from downpipes and things. Do we have a drainage plan for this?
If we have, I certainly haven't looked at it. No, there's various ecological documents. I don't think there's a draining plan. Again, I think this is because of the nature of the retention of most of the building.
So if I can encourage some sort of water retention with how things are going in the future, I think you'll find it beneficial that you can still flush a loo when we have no water coming through a tap. Yeah. Anything else? No? I don't. No, I've forgotten. No? So happy to vote then on no objection. All those in favour, no objection? Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. There we go. Good luck. Yeah, yeah. If you can think in the future maybe about disabled access and things, because I
it's a very steep site, which is,
yeah.
which is what's making it so challenging for that. We're doing accessible steps to make sure, and disabled showers and everything else. So it's the reality of the site is we're doing everything
Yeah.
to make sure.
If you shouldn't ask for accessible steps.
Right. Okay. So I need to get back to my. Oh, she's. Oh no. Right, let's go on with that. Sorry, Duncan. Which item agenda do we need to bring back up?
16.2, so right at the back end.
Right. Okay, so to catering for Mrs. I'm not sure if it was Mrs. Coates, Miss Coates. Miss Coates, Miss Coates. Sorry, I went wanting to do something appropriate, sort of, for coming to speak about item 16 on 19 St Michael's Road. Moving it up the agenda, I'm happy to propose. Seconder. All those in favour? Brilliant, thank you. So would you like to come and speak then, Miss Coates, please, about...
Hi, I'm back again. I'm here on behalf of the residents, or some of the residents of Enners Road. Obviously not everybody's engaged, but a lot of people are. Obviously we're very disappointed that this has been appealed against. I'm very unhappy with Cornwall Council because I think their refusal did not reflect the comments that everybody made. There was like over 100 comments. And they were all basically saying the same thing, that the wall should not be touched, the public right-of-way should not be divided by vehicles. And now, obviously with the play park, there's going to be even more traffic going up that public right-of-way, and it's always incredibly busy anyway, but it's going to be even busier. And the fact that Enners Road shouldn't really be part of this application because the site is on St Michael's Road, and what right do they have to break through into our road that's been like this for 100 years when there's adequate access? Only because the application is for 9 flats using the full width of the site, and if it was a smaller application which wasn't the full width, therefore they wouldn't need to affect us in any way. But none of that was in the refusal, so the applicant is actually using that now. So where do we go? What can we do? I know we can comment again, but I feel that we've been very let down by Cornwall Council. And that's really sad, because what happens now? What else was I going to say? We already have enough problems on Enners Road. People fly down there because they think it's St Michael's Road, so it's a dead-end road. So if there was an access through, would they carry on? Would they just keep going into this new site, or would they then attempt to turn around in the very limited space that it says no turning in already? I mean, it happens sort of, you're right down the end, it's like once every 5 minutes in peak. It's like, it's not, it's all the time, and people fly down there and then they get really cross because they've made a mistake, so they turn around in about a 20-point turn and then they fly back again. So that's already a big problem. They did a report saying that there are passing spaces on Enners Road, and there isn't. There's one with a cut through, really. And this survey was obviously done sort of, 9 to 5, whereas you try coming after 5 o'clock or over the weekend, you won't be able to pass. It's just, another survey needs to be done out of working hours, because it's just not true. And obviously we have the issue for permit parking, because Cornwall Council sells up to 2 permits per house, and there's about 50 houses, and there's only the equivalent of 23 spaces. So we already have a massive problem, which is a daily nightmare for our community on that road. So the thought of 9 extra flats and 3 extra businesses, there's going to be an effect. You can't possibly not have an effect, particularly as there aren't enough parking spaces in the original application for 9 flats anyway. So it cannot help our community on so many levels. The actual appeal itself seems to be focused on the minutiae, such like the 5-year housing land supply. I mean, I don't know the details about all of that, but there are hundreds of houses being built around Newquay, and Nansledden is going to be thousands of houses. How can we have a shortage of houses in Newquay? It can't be right. That needs to be looked into, surely. And also, these 9 flats are going onto the open market. They're not social housing, they're not long-term rental. They could just be snapped up straight away for second homes and Airbnb. It doesn't help us in any way. So All I would say is I feel as if the whole appeal is written as such as this site is part of Ennis Road, and it is not. It is St Michael's Road, and they're interfering in a road that doesn't want anything to do with it. So all I can say is I think that the original design was very flawed. They missed out on lots of documents. They were the wrong documents, or the documents weren't there. And surely this is, you know, you have to do a second application if you've messed up the first one on the sort of nitty-gritty of it. And I just hope that the Town Council can help us, because we feel as if, you know, we're in a corner now. Really?
So yeah. I mean, we're noting it, aren't they, in this meeting, and discussing it in the next meeting, aren't we, Duncan? In terms of what we're putting in the response for the appeal. I'm sure you have been in communique with your local county councillor. Yes, there's a nod over there.
Cornwall Council.
Yes, sorry, Cornwall councillor, not, yeah, Cornwall. And MP?
Joanna dealt with it. He didn't want to get involved.
Okay, so I'd be looking to actually go back to your MP, because it's on national government guidelines of housing. So I'd go back to your MP and actually say the action that you're taking, and maybe we'd like actually your support too, if that's how you in the future. I mean, we can't really say more than that at the moment, because I suppose are we going to move up the discussion up to the agenda then as well, I suppose, like we do with planning applications? Is that how we're going to do this?
Yeah, I kind of thought that we already had.
Oh, right, okay, so we're having that at the, right, okay.
So, yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
has Joe finished? I think
Yeah.
it's had more.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Joanna.
Can I just make a comment about, I'm just reading what Cornwall Council said. The report went through and raised all the points. Didn't really talk much, but they did talk about the right of way and everybody objecting to it. Didn't actually pick them up for the reason of the, which is interesting, having said all that. He didn't actually put it in reason for refusal. The problem with the 5-year land supply is that we've got what we call the tilted balance. And it's something the government has done. They've decided that they want Cornwall to build 4,000, whatever number of houses it is, a year. And the tilted balance says, effectively, everything that has residential gets passed unless there's really good reason why not, which is where the 5-year land supply, because we haven't got a 5-year land supply, because we weren't expecting it. That's why you've got this tilted balance. I personally think there's, I haven't actually put in a comment yet, and I will. I know the conservation area people, they will be putting a thing in, and we've got to talk about history. They do quote, just because Cornwall Council doesn't talk about the history and all the rest of it, and I'm surprised they don't, but they haven't. But they do take it, the inspectors should take on all those other considerations, because they quote the neighbourhood plan in quite a lot of detail. So I don't think all is lost. I mean, what we will probably be doing is looking at what the applicant is saying, and then seeing how we can respond and rebut what he is saying. And I'll certainly be putting something in. And I imagine the council will probably decide to expand on, because I mean, we've only done a couple of sentences so far, haven't we?
I think the objection that we put in was quite lengthy.
No, was it? Oh, in that case, we might.
I seem to remember writing a bit of an essay. To be honest,
It was quite all-encompassing and robust in terms of what. There were so many points we'd put in. Yeah, Francis.
I just want to say thank you for coming along today on behalf of your community. I think it's one of those amazing streets that Newquay has that not many places have. It's beautiful. And I would encourage you I'm sure you have done, to have a conversation with Newquay Mayor as well, because he has a close relationship with Ennis Road as well, and he also has a really constructive relationship with the MP Noah Law, so he may be able to bring it up in a conversation with him directly. I was just wondering that whether the fact that the new play park is now, ground has been broken for it, is yet another very, very strong argument to add into. I mean, when it was raised here last time, I have never seen this gallery so full ever. Normally it's like this. This is quite busy for a regular night, whereas that day it really kind of encouraged me that Newquay people do care about their local areas. So yeah, that's all I can say. But yeah, the mayor is also a Cornwall councillor, not for your area, but works very closely with Joanna. And if I know Joanna well enough now, if once she gets her head on something, it's quite a kind of targeted approach. So, yes.
Can I just say, they have actually put a drop curb in almost right outside TLS, which is at the top of Church Path, for prams and bikes to cross. So it's a real thing.
With a bit of redesign, they could have had their parking places at the back.
Yeah.
And gone in from St Michael's Road, which is, you know, what they've just wanted to build it that much bigger. So I think nobody is saying you can't have residential houses there. They're just saying, just cut it back a bit.
Decisions are being led by greed. That's why.
I think yeah, I mean, we said at the time, because they've already got the lane beside the building to drive around the back. They just needed to maintain that. They didn't need that second entrance for you guys at all. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll be making our strong rebuttal and reiterating that, and with the play park and things, I think that's a good point in terms of, and we have this now as well for, you know, small children whizzing down that footpath.
And old children, please, Councillor Thompson.
Oh, and older children.
Thank you.
Would it be useful to just sort of quickly re-familiarise ourselves with the reasons for refusal,
Yeah, if
and
you've
then
got- yeah.
what the appellant is actually saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So I've got the decision and the reasons for refusal. The first reason, it's really about the harm to the street scene, the scale and mass, the level of development, the Newquay character study is referred to. But it's basically about it being largely at odds with the site and with its surroundings. So that was the first reason that was given for refusal. The second, as you'll see on the screen, it just says, in the absence of a completed Section 106 planning obligation, the proposal fails to provide an appropriate mechanism to secure an off-site contribution for the various funds that the Section 106 monies go to. And those were the two reasons, and as has been pointed out, the highways concerns did not form part of Cornwall Council's decision. It was these two reasons.
All the historic wall.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
Sorry, Joe, then you, Karen.
My computer's playing up, so I was looking for the minutes of the meeting that we had about what we put forward to Cornwall Council as a consultee, but I can't find it. Do we have access to what? Because you've written what Cornwall's councillor said. Could we have a look and see what our response was?
I've got it here, Joe. It's
quoted in full in the appeal, in the inspector, the officer's rejection. He quotes the whole of our report, and it was over a page long.
Right. So, well, now I'm a little bit confused, because if the refusal contained our representation, then it's being considered and it's part of that, and so the appeal would have to consider all of that. Am I right?
Yeah,
Is it covered?
you'd hope so,
I
yeah.
believe that if you're saying, is the inspector only looking at the reasons for refusal and not the wider comments and objections that were put in, I believe he looks at the whole lot.
Yeah,
And this is slightly unusual, I must admit, but I believe that he will look not just at what Cornwall Council refused it on, but the wider comments as well.
But what heard from the floor earlier was that the appeal, the grounds of the appeal are focusing on just point 1 and point 2 of refusals that were up on the screen earlier, and not what has been written by us in
all the appellant can do is challenge the refusal, and the refusal was those 2 points. It's I mean, it might be useful to know how they've responded to those, and we can to those 2 points, and we can look at that quite easily in respect of their impact on the character and on the impact on neighbouring properties. Their argument is quite concise. They say that Cornwall Council overstated their argument that this was going to have a negative impact on the area and its surroundings, on the character of the area. And in respect to the section 106, they are saying that agreement has now been made and that they are going to make that contribution. So they're saying Cornwall Council overstated one of its reasons and the other one has now been resolved. But the inspector does have to look at everything. Everybody who objected is invited to contribute to this. And what I'm hoping is that come our next meeting, well, we can't make any decisions on it today because it is just an information item today. It's you will have the bones of if councillors did want to respond and take part in this appeal, you would have the bones of your response in place and something that you'd be able to maybe vote on at the next meeting, or at least bring to the next meeting.
Can I just point out 4.4 above your head then, Duncan? That's what they've pointed out. They've listed everything else that we said, pointing out then in the appeal that Cornwall Council had not noted that. So
they do talk about the intrinsic character and appearance of Ennis Road, and I would argue that every point that we make is the intrinsic
the character and everything.
It's a summarisation of what we're saying.
So when it comes back to our response, then that's what we've got to hammer home, is all of that, and as well as adding then the play park up the road and things. Francis, then Joe.
Sorry, 3 things, if I remember them. Quick question is, what's the deadline for response again?
It's the 13th of July.
Okay.
So that's why we're going to do something in the next meeting.
Yes.
So this
perfect.
is, yeah.
Second thing is, can't remember. And the third thing was, it may well, and you may be thinking about this already, but getting, oh no, I remember what the second thing was. If they think it's a subjective view of whether it's overdeveloped or not, then I think that having some physical, like some photographic evidence to demonstrate that actually, no, it will be a significant overbearing development, that would be, I think, a strong case for any respondees. And I don't know if this is 100% right, Duncan, I'm sure you'll tell me, but perhaps there is strength in getting a lot of different individuals from residents of Ennis Road to do as many personalised responses to this as possible by the deadline.
And with sort of like photographic evidence is always useful within that in terms of...
A couple of things with the photographic evidence. We did do a head count. One of the other ladies did a head count of people walking down. I said a time lapse would be great, but apparently we can't because of protection and people's faces and what have you. But someone did do just a numbers of that.
Numbers, logs, and things like that. And
pictures of the local environment to show
what
the current situation and then what would happen.
One other thing is I spoke to the appeals department at Cornwall Council, and she suggested that we could put in one comment, but have everybody who wanted to sign it, because not everybody is able to write something. they're passionate, but they can't necessarily formulate it. So that might be more powerful if we had one comment with all these names underneath, if everybody's in agreement. I don't know. I don't know.
And I'd go and talk to their neighbours on St Michael's Road as well, because there's the one building to the east of it, which is very close. They've got this mass about 2 metres away from windows and things from their building. I think Joe, and then you, Nick. Joe, didn't you have you got memory lapse?
I mean, we started with section 4.1 of the appellant's document, but I'm interpreting that this is quite a selective interpretation of the refusal from Cornwall Council, and I'm also wondering, during the appeals process, where pretty much all of the details that we said in our meeting and the response that we provided will all come out in the wash during the appeal hearing, I'm assuming. I'm kind of looking to people who might.
I mean, he makes a judgment. It's not like a hearing. It's not like Whipsy, is it? There won't be a hearing, will there? No, it's a decision made up. He comes down from Bristol.
It's fairly unusual for this one to ask for more comments. Normally they say we just look at the comments you've got. I suppose it's not a household application, is it? It's
no, it's business.
Yeah.
Right, so
I know I mentioned it the last time, but I was actually dropping off there the other day. I couldn't even get more than about 4 houses in because there was 2 cars parked directly opposite each other. There's just no chance. No. It's ridiculous if they think there's parking spaces in there. It isn't. You have to go backwards, and then you have to hope that there's nobody parked on the other side.
Well, other people. Let's say other people can make comments too, Nick. So can't you? I mean, as a voice of a different thing. So anyone can make comments on this. You don't have to, for levels of concern, and that would be one of them. Well, is an experience, wouldn't it? So.
Can I just ask, are we actually discussing this at this moment, or are we still asking questions? Because
according to Duncan,
talk about the mechanics of what we're going to do, but that's not part of public questions.
So Duncan said that we were discussing this, because I said if we needed to move it into questions. So
if we're no longer talking, if public questions is now over. Right. So effectively, we've got till the next meeting, which is a fortnight away. I think everybody should read every bit of paper there is. It's all there. Effectively, I think we all need to have done our homework Are you anticipating having a draft response at the next meeting that we approve, or are you anticipating that we hammer it out at the next meeting?
Well, I would say that you've got 2 options really. One is to bring along a draft, a combination of your thoughts, and what might. If you can't, because these things can take a bit of thrashing out, it might mean that you go away, finish that draft put it into a finished piece of work, and then just email it around to everybody and just get the okay before submitting it prior to the 13th.
So that sounds like asking for comments from everybody by the end of next week. Is that the sort of timing we're talking about?
Yeah, so Duncan, can you email out everybody a copy of our response from last time? And then if everyone can add or do a separate paragraph that they'd want to add to that, and then we could get it back. If we could do that as quick as possible. Wait a minute, Nick. And then we can hopefully then knock it together at the next meeting. All right? But we don't want to go through lots of nitty-gritty. So if we can all add and send Duncan then a few sentences or something that that wants to be added, then I suspect there's going to be a lot of overlap. And I doubt if there's going to be that, from the 2 pages that we added before, I think it was quite all-encompassing as it was before. But
do you have the resource to Do you have the time to be able to coordinate all the responses that are coming at you?
Yeah, no, we'll do it. But bear in mind that next Friday is my last working day, then I'm away for a fortnight.
Oh, sorry?
Next Friday
Yeah.
will be my last working day before I have a couple of weeks off.
So you're not doing the next meeting?
I'm not. I will do as much of the preparation as I can do, but then I won't be here the week of the meeting or the week after.
So we will need to hammer it out ourselves, basically. If you could coordinate until you go away, and then we'll have a look at what, and we'll see what we can hammer out. I've written.
No, I think it can be done because you've a few days following the meeting where it could be kind of chopped up and edited into something that could be emailed around just for everybody's approval.
But if we can, it can then all be put in together for the meeting. Everyone's comments. Sarah says this, Francis says that, and then in the meeting we'll go. Actually, well, they're saying the same thing. Everyone's saying the same thing, and we can amalgamate it, and hopefully we can do it that way. Nick. We just have to get a committee of memory issues, don't we?
Sorry.
Oh dear. Karen?
I just wondered whether it'd be worth contacting the Historical Society about the wall, because it was quite impactful, the young man that spoke about the history of the wall that they're contemplating knocking through.
I think that's already been done, Karen.
Well, if you are motivated to do that, please do. That's your gift as a councillor. You know,
All right.
you can do that.
Just seeing if they said anything last time. I know the conservation team who are working on a conservation plan put in a response. So I don't know whether they're probably one of them is probably listening at this moment. So no doubt we'll get an email saying yes, we did this, that, and the other. I don't know if the Historical Society actually did or not.
A long time, isn't it? And I think it is really important then there was such a community response on this that we want as wide a community response as possible. So yes, spread and talk to people, you know, that are using the park and yeah. Yeah. It's always lovely seeing faces at the next meeting. I mean, it is. I mean, all I see is the picture of the King up there, having a lovely audience underneath. It's lovely to have participation, and you're always very welcome to stay for the whole meeting. And yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Duncan, do we need to vote on sort of what we've just said to do? No, because it's just for notes.
We're just going for, it did get on the agenda slightly late, so it's not really a
Yeah.
decision item, it's just a conversation about where we're going. Joe, you can phone the town council, go onto the website, see the email address if you've anything that you feel, you know, any updates that you think would be useful. Okay.
Yeah. Okay then. Take care. Nick, is that memory cell kicked in?
No. Can I
No.
just ask a quick question to Duncan? What I mentioned about, I can't find it on the, I wrote you an email about something, I can't find it on the agenda.
Okay, that's not necessarily appropriate at the moment, Nick. Oh gosh, right, where are you going?
Interestingly, nobody thought to ask the Heritage Officer to have a look at this. Normally we'd say, and I just assumed he'd be consulted, but there are no comments from the Heritage Officer.
I thought there was originally because he didn't. I thought there was originally. Maybe Duncan, no? I can't remember.
I couldn't tell you
couldn't
right
tell
now,
you.
no.
So, would you be able to contact them, Joanna? It's too late.
The officers doing the appeal will now talk to the heritage officer, because it appears that there is no comment from either the the heritage officer from Cornwall Council. I don't know yet, because there are 146 comments, whether the historical people went in or not.
Okay, right. I need a vote to go back to the agenda. I propose. Seconder. Thank you, Sandy. All those in favour? Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thank you. Whew. Do we have any other written questions in, Duncan?
No, we have no written questions to trouble ourselves with this evening.
Right, active consultations. So we've got these names. These are all updates. Okay, yeah. The Puffin pedestrian crossing down at Penver Road, where it meets Church Street, to the east of. So we were in the meeting, weren't we, when this was discussed, Joanna, and the officers were after a more, I suppose, robust statement from Newquay Town Council. Whether actually we're going to decide that we're in a position to give one or not, then, yeah. So we discussed, this was discussed at length, that the ideal option for here on the west side of it coincided with the access for QuickFit, and that with the accesses to property, that it didn't work. That's what we were told. As opposed to that it's got to be on this side. The suggestion of having Joe's diamond box in the road went down quite well via Joanna when she sort of like said that as well. So it's going to be known as Joe's box. Yeah, for placing here, actually, I think was a good idea, because if the lights are on and pedestrians here, then by keeping this space free from the traffic heading west, it does mean that people can pull out of Church Street, which they would have struggled to do if that wasn't there, because people would be queuing across Church Street. I mean, it's a bad enough junction now. You can be there for ages waiting for traffic on Henver Road. It is grim. So, yes, it's whether Duncan, can you read out what we said last time?
I'll bring that up on the screen, but before I do, some advice basically is that at the last meeting we were aware that Cornwall Council were intending to reconsult on this crossing. However, what Cornwall Council have done is simply extended the consultation deadline due to concerns that a number of residents' views had not been captured within the original consultation timeline. We have submitted our comment to this scheme. Nothing has changed. Our terms of reference state that unless we are made aware of any new information, we aren't in a position to change that comment.
Okay. Oh, so fair enough. Yes,
and
Joanna.
I don't believe there's any new, because
Yeah.
they're not reconsulting, they've merely extended the date.
Yeah. Yeah, Joanna.
I think it was interesting. Sarah's going to know, the thing that interests me was everybody agrees that the right place for the crossing is on the west side, but it isn't practical because of the quick fit and the drives. But they produced a foot count, but taken last year, and I mean I think it was 3 times as many people were doing the Wish crossing on the west hand side as that. So it's a bodge solution for something that isn't the right solution at all. The reason they have extended it was because Councillor Glanville had spoken to a lot of residents in the area. And they wouldn't accept they felt they couldn't accept what he was saying. So the reason they extended it was to give him a chance to go around and talk to all those people and say, put your own comments in. That is why they extended it.
Yeah.
I tried to voice that as diplomatically as I could.
No, it's nothing. I think all credit to Councillor Glanville. But that was the reason, that they extended, to give the opportunity for all those people who didn't actually reply. And that's down to Councillor Glanville. I don't think there's any need for us to reply. We've said what we've said. It's better on the west. They've come back and said...
Yeah, but I'm just saying, because of that information is that it can't be on the west, I'm wondering actually if our statement that we made does need adjusting, because didn't we mention on our... So we have got new information, because it can't be on the west, and that was part of our statement, was it? That I think we said, Duncan.
Our criticism is still valid. It's on the wrong side. Why put a crossing that's on the wrong side at all? I mean, I understand why they're doing it, because the footpath that's coming up from Nansleddon, right opposite the junction, and you've got all the kids sort of trying to get to the school, you've got people trying to get to the bus stop. The shop that it might have served is now closed, so
yeah, that's gone.
But it's in the wrong. It is in the wrong place. I don't think we've said to them it's in the wrong place. Not changing my mind about that.
No, it's not. I mean, the funding is there already in place for this. They have the funding for this, and from what the impression I got, the funding is not transferable. It has been given for this, so I think it's. Unless there's a large public response. Basically, they'd had 20 odd responses, I think. Councillor Glanville had put in, he got about 50 from people from Penford Road, but of course it's a completely different technique. You can't have people willy-nilly going along just collecting data and thinking that that's okay to be added. It does, all concerns have to go through the Cornwall Council Let's Talk website. So have we got a link for that Let's Talk website that we can share
it's
on the
on
minutes?
the IBAB's agenda.
Okay, so it's on there, right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's your response, I mean, your resolution was to support, because there was a number of different options.
Yeah.
I think 4 different options, and you've supported the proposal, but would ask Cornwall Council to consider additional or alternative measures. My understanding is that Cornwall Council have come back to you and said, we'd like you to say something more positive.
Yeah.
Which is that I don't really think our terms of reference allow us to go okay. No, so right.
On
the same scheme.
So I think Namorna was before you, Karen, and then
Just what do we know? Obviously, Councillor Glanville did go round. He told me that he went round to businesses and residential properties, and that they were very much against a crossing. Do we know why they were against the crossing? I've got it in my head that it was because they felt the crossing would cause traffic jams.
We need to forget what I did, because he's against it anyway. So there's no evidence. It's sort of like somebody turns up on your doorstep. I'm Councillor there. There's going to be this crossing up there. I don't agree with it. What do you think? We have that you can't do that in terms of a survey.
I absolutely realise that, because
and he's got no paper record. He's just got that there were so many people and they didn't approve of it. It's got to be, all of that's got to be scrubbed off.
It was the traffic, the idea that the having a crossing at all. I mean, I don't think he wanted it on either side. Was going to create hold-ups for people coming out of the village. I think that's roughly what he was saying. But people are crossing the road there, so it's...
Yeah, I mean, it is been identified as a risk site, And there's going to be more and more children coming down that, Aston, Antler and Groves, all going to primary and secondary schools.
I use that crossing myself, and it's diabolical, and and because of the bend in the road as well, you can't always see fast traffic. So it's absolutely essential. I just wondered, whether there was any information we had as to why people were objecting to it.
So you want a crossing, even if it's in not the right place, you would like to have that crossing?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, Karen?
I was just going to say, this might not go down so well, but why not extend it so you've got traffic lights at the end of Church Street? So that, have we covered that? Sorry if we have.
It was a discussion.
Traffic lights there and then traffic lights where the crossing is. So then that would stop the traffic and then allow people to come out of Church Street and then allow people to cross. Have we?
That was
Sorry.
put forward last time by somebody.
Because I went to the vets down there and it took me literally 15 minutes to pull out of Church Street.
It is
a nightmare.
You need to run out of the car, press the button, come back in the car.
Yeah, quite a common technique.
If there was traffic lights there, it would solve all the problems.
Yeah. Nick?
I actually find the easiest way of getting out of there, if you're turning right, is to actually, believe it or not, turn left.
Yes, I do. Go round and round.
Turn left, go round, back up.
Yeah.
I'd just point out again that we have submitted our response.
Yeah.
And that we aren't in a position to change that response.
So
They've extended the consultation.
No, we are not permitted to.
Our terms of reference, Karen. Our terms of reference prevent.
sorry.
No. This is useful stuff.
So-
Our terms
so-
of reference prevent us from flip-flopping around with decisions.
Okay, so
the idea is that the town council, we make a decision and that decision sticks unless we've got new information. In this case, we don't have new information, I'm afraid. So that's the reason for it.
okay, so do we need to vote on that then?
It's just an update for you.
Okay.
So it ends up being quite a long one, but it's just an update.
So can you respond back then with that actually, in looking at our terms of reference, we're not in a position to alter that then, please, Duncan?
I don't believe that I've got that formally in writing.
Oh, didn't they? Oh, I assumed that.
I'll have a look.
That's
I'll
right.
have a look.
Right,
If there is something.
Okay.
But,
yeah, well, if they didn't send anything, this...
I'll say,
yeah.
if there's something there, I will respond.
Okay,
to it.
right, okay, wonderful,
Sorry
thank
about
you. Public path order, Train Creek pedestrian crossing.
Okay, this again is really just an update on previous sort of kind of previous work that you've done. Where are we? I'll just see if I can bring up a map here, which I'm hoping will remind some of us that one there of the consultation, and I'll just very quickly go through it. This is Train Creek, and it's related to the rail, the closing of the rail crossing. In January 2025, you were consulted on changes to the pedestrian crossing. In March 2025, so just a couple of months later, we reluctantly agreed to withdraw this objection, partly, some of you will remember, due to the threat of potential costs to the town council should a public hearing be required. That came from Cornwall Council, and they suggested that if it did go to a public hearing, it would have significant. We could have face a significant bill because we would be involved in paying for it. You asked me to speak to the town clerk. The town clerk suggested that it would be wiser for us not to run the risk of incurring those costs. So we reluctantly withdrew. I think that was your words, in fact, Joe, if I remember rightly. We've now been notified that that this proposal, the making of a public path order for the Tren Creek pedestrian crossing, has been submitted to the Secretary of State for the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs for determination. This is the first time I've seen one of these go to appeal. So, so an inspector will be appointed by the Secretary of State to determine the order. There are 2 deadlines for us here. Everyone who has made an objection or representation and who wishes to make further comment must ensure that their statement of case is received by the Secretary of State by the 19th of August. As soon as possible after that deadline, all comments will be available for everyone to view. And then everyone who has made an objection or representation and then seen the comments that everybody else has made is then able to submit further comments, and they must be received by the 30th of September. This follows very different rules to what we're used to with planning or with licensing kind of hearings and appeals.
Well,
I don't know if you do, because you put in an objection originally, you have been included in this.
but we
The
didn't.
deadline is quite lengthy, so...
But we didn't object to a new crossing here. What we objected to was the loss of going across the land. Oh no, it was cutting across here, wasn't it? It wasn't a crossing over that. I presume the only people that have objected to that pedestrian crossing across here is Network Rail.
No, but they want to close it.
No,
The dotted bit is what they want to do. Is that right, Duncan?
are they looking to close this then?
They want to close the crossing.
Right.
And the argument was
so
of...
these bits are to be retained.
Yeah.
The dotted
Just like
bits
is the new.
are the new, and the straight
Right,
underneath
okay.
line is the bits to be extinguished.
Okay. Yes, and
I think it was the bit across the Prow Park land.
it was this bit, wasn't it?
It got all very much involved with the removal of the green stuff
Yeah.
and turning it into a car park and all the rest of it. So, and I think it was Councillor Fitter and one of the local objectives saying we want to maintain that right to
The
walk
right of
across
access.
Prow
Yeah,
Park
yeah,
land.
yeah.
I thought that, you know, I mean, I'm not sure what difference would that make. But obviously, whoever has objected has succeeded. Because on the other side, it's a miserable little walk. You go past
Yeah.
someone's house and down this alleyway. So it's, you know, most people don't even know it's there. And of course, now the road is the main vehicular crossing is shut. Tren Creek's changed out of all recognition. It's a cul-de-sac, and it's, you know, you can cross. They're not stopping you crossing the track. Where
Well,
the
here,
main
because
road
this is the road, you know, which is no longer open. But yeah, you can cross the track there, can't you?
What I was envisaging was perhaps, I think that maybe councillors need to revisit the proposal and our response to it,
Yeah.
and then decide if you do want to kind of proceed. It's as I say, it's and contribute something else, because you may not wish to. I don't know, but the date is August 26th, 19th of August, that you'd have to get something in by. So it's not something that needs to
Between
be
now.
sort of talked about now, but it does need somebody to go away and
So-
have a look at it and come back to the committee with a view on
Yeah.
it.
So for Newquay Town councillors for this area and Linden, I can't remember what Councillor Linden. It's his area now, isn't it? I presume. Porthincham Terrace. Yeah.
They're not changing the bit that goes.
No, it's not.
It's just going to be fine.
Yes, so do we want to, are you able to send us out then what we said with this then, Duncan? And I think we
absolutely.
can put it on the agenda for a future meeting when you're back for consideration. I don't know if is anyone a councillor in this area? Well,
I don't think it is
They can put it Porthincham Terrace.
Yes.
I mean, it might be worth whether you go along and talk to residents, butting onto that as to what they think and get their opinion on this. Because really, I mean, that's what it's impacting, isn't it? It's really the local residents here, if they still want to use that, or as opposed to walking around the corner, crossing the road and going around there. So,
You can't do it. We've spoken to Fred and he says.
no, they've got to put their comments in. But it is, you know, it's pointless our putting, you know, sustaining an objection and thinking of other things to write, if actually the local residents will actually, it saves us people walking past my property. So whoever lives in the house here, you see, they might be quite pleased that they're not going to have public access going past their house anymore.
Well, you see,
So,
you've got two wards there. You've got Porthincham Terrace one side,
Yeah.
and you've got St Paul Minor and Queenshaw on the other.
yeah, colon.
Just to make it.
Yeah. So,
Could I suggest something?
yeah.
Joanna often makes clear that an important thing with these things is to make sure that we've got a seat at the table, as it were. If you were to put in something of a similar ilk to what you've already submitted, then you've got your place at the table. And then once that 19th of August deadline has passed, they are going to share everybody's responses with everybody who's got a seat at the table, at which point you will be able to see if Mrs. Miggins doesn't like it because they're walking past the front door, or if there are much more fundamental local issues around this.
Are they going to be made aware of it? You see, very often
Yes.
these days with planning applications, then they're not. So,
No,
I mean,
it's not,
all
well,
the
it's not a
residents in
planning
that.
application, it's everybody, it
Yeah.
seems that everybody who responded to the original consultation, because we withdrew ours, I'm really surprised that we've been written to, but it seems that everybody who responded to this has now been contacted to say this is going to the inspector and here is a timeline for you to put in further comments, etc., etc.
It's actually on the other three wards because Trenance is on the top corner as well.
Okay. So yes, meeting when you're back then, Duncan, if we can have a look at then actually what we wrote, or are you saying that do we vote now then in terms of to do what you said?
Well, I mean,
I don't-
you'll have to draft. I mean, but do you and I want to meet up
I haven't.
in a couple of weeks' time, just for half an hour, and just sort of decide?
We can do it with the triage.
Yeah, that would be absolutely fine.
I don't want to keep coming in for for
Yeah,
bits
no,
and
we'll
bobs
do.
of
Yeah, we'll do that.
triage.
We'll do that, and we'll sort out a date for that when
Okay.
for the triage, and we'll have a conversation about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the triage.
Yes.
Yes. Karen?
I was just going to say, if we objected to it before, then I can't see why we would change our minds now. And we
No,
won't.
you wouldn't be changing your minds. You will be
No.
adding further comment.
Right.
Yeah.
So we do need to have our seat at the table, as you put, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're not part.
Yeah, so we do need to respond, don't we?
Yeah. Right, okay.
It's the bit that is argued.
So moving on. Right, licensing. Number 8, licensing. We've got LAO3, which is Eat Talk 3 on Tower Garage, on that corner with Tower Road and what's the road that comes off Tower Road? Is it Hope Terrace? Yeah.
Let's bring up the street view.
So I've had someone raising concerns from this as a local resident. So
So what actually, what is it? Is it a temporary?
well, you'll see. So basically, on the garage site, there's a whole series of pop-up fast food vans, etc. That and the local residents were complaining about the noise.
Noise, yeah.
So Yeah.
So anyway, this is the location. Some of you will remember Tower Garage being subject to, I think we saw a couple of quite ambitious planning applications that were refused. Excuse me. We then, it was then noticed that a number of food trading vans had appeared on the site. There was a conversation with Cornwall Council about that, and I believe eventually that the various food safety permissions and, well, it's sort of an avoiding of the street trading regulations by sitting themselves further than 5 metres back from this pavement. All of that was kind of sorted out. And then they've sort of adapted the garage buildings on these two sides as bars, serving alcohol, and they've operated, again we brought this to Cornwall Council's attention, and we were told that they're operating under temporary event notice. There's a limit to how many temporary event notices that they could put in, but they were operating under temporary event notices in anticipation of getting a premises licence, and that's the application that we're looking at here. There's a description of the premises which is ridiculously long, so I'm not going to go through it all, but it says the premises comprises a street food yard, I think that's the bit where the cars are here, and community venue located at Tower Garage, Tower Road. Unit 1 contains a fixed bar, I can't remember if it's, I think Unit 1 is where that camper van is. Contains a fixed bar installation for the sale and supply of alcohol consumption. Unit 2 contains a fixed bar installation for the sale and supply of alcohol. I think that's the one next door to it. And they wish to have basically the sale of alcohol and regulated entertainment in terms of recorded and live music. The operating hours that they've requested are really, for Newquay, they're really kind of quite modest, to be honest. They're looking at Monday to Sunday, 12 until 9:30 at night. So it's really quite, by Newquay standards, really quite modest. Alcohol will be on sales only. They will be looking to serve alcohol from midday until 9 o'clock, so that factors in the half-hour drinking up time, which they need to do. The regulated entertainment, in terms of recorded music, this is proposed as being indoors and outdoors. Monday to Thursday would be midday until 9 o'clock at night. Friday to Sunday would be midday until 9:30, till 9:30. Regulated entertainment in terms of live music is much the same. It is indoors and outdoors. I'll bring up the plan in a minute so you can see exactly what that entails. For some strange reason, I don't know why, they've got live music on a Wednesday, midday to 9:30, nothing on a Thursday, and then Friday to Sunday, midday to 9:30. I've not heard any concerns from the police licensing officer. I'll talk to you in a minute about the Annex 2 conditions, which, well, I will draw your attention to them, and you can sort of make up your own minds about them. The plan is quite detailed, actually. As you know, I'm always grumbling about the plans, but these are actually quite detailed. What you're looking at on the right-hand side of the page there is these grey ones are the buildings that sort of form that L shape. So this is Tower Road running up and down here, and this is Hope Terrace along the top, and then you've got Yeah, so you've got your licensed buildings here, and the area where all the cars were parked, they're called the external customer area, and then you've got they want to include food traders there as well. If they keep those trading vans 5+ meters away from the pavement on the other side of that wall, they don't need street trading consents. So we shan't bother ourselves with the food trading side of things today. That's not part of this application. It just appears on the plans, but it's the alcohol and it's the live and recorded music. And I mean, as you'll all be aware, it's a very, this is a highly residential area. Reminds me a little bit of Project 83, when they wanted to do stuff indoors and everybody was quite fine about it, and then they decided that they wanted to do their music outdoors as well, and that presented some issues. These guys want to do outdoor music in quite a residential area.
Can you leave
it
on that position there? Thanks, Duncan. Yeah, Project 83 didn't have flats above it. So Unit 1 is actually underneath here. Unit 2 is actually underneath there. So this apartment here, if you remember when we had the application, then there was going to be the block of housing literally outside their little outdoor area terrace, and it was going to be literally meters away with a brick wall. So there's so they came back and they'd altered the design for the apartment, so they still had an outlook going up the coast towards, effectively up the hill towards the Atlantic. And this apartment here. So they'd objected to this, but so for me, it's not like, 83, because the back of that garage didn't have residential really up close to it, and originally with 83, then we objected on that because they had that low wall out the back, and then they've come back and they put the wood panelling off hit and miss screening up there, didn't they, from coming around on St George's Road, where this is completely open. I know we're not meant to consult it with the row of food vans, but that's going to have a lot of traffic coming into that as a car park to park up to get fast food. And even though it's a garage at the moment, it effectively operates wherever it is, 8:30 till 5 during the day. This is totally different timing for local residents, that they're going to have people there coming in for fast food. And so even though the licensing is there, we don't know what time the fast food is operating to either. So I think we can comment though on the concerns with the traffic though, can't we, with this in terms of the licensing? No, we can't.
No, this is an application under the Licensing Act 2003 for alcohol and for regulated entertainment. This is what I was saying. You need to, the food trading side of things, that's different legislation. You need to ignore that.
Can I just ask a question on that?
I mean, you can object about food trading, but that has no bearing on the sale of alcohol or live music causing a nuisance. I know it's frustrating, but
someone has objected. Do we know whether
I have been aware that there are at least 2 representations. It's very rare that I'm allowed to know this, but there are at least 2 representations made by other persons which I am interpreting as members of the public. I haven't heard back from the civilian police licensing officer. To be honest, the operating hours finishing at half 9 at night, that would be seen as less of a nighttime trouble spot. Really, the magic hour for the police is 11 p.m. onwards, because that's when the majority of the trouble that they encounter due to licensed premises tends to happen. So I have a feeling don't quote me on it, but I have a feeling that they may not be as concerned. And obviously the police are not going to be commenting on things like loud music and stuff like that. That's not their remit. They're just looking at crime and disorder. But at least 2 people have put in representations.
Francis, then Karen.
Duncan, did you say that the food van has to be 5 metres away from the pavement?
Yes, I did.
Because, and is that the beginning of the box of the, like, so it'll be in there, I think they're looking at a kind of corral style thing. So it would be the back wall of any van selling food, right? Not the front, not the serving spot. Because 5 metres is quite a bit of space. And then if that's another then 2 metres, say, so that's 7 metres into that plot of land, which is where someone would then stand and order their burger, there, my spatial awareness is quite limited, but I would say that those purple squares that are food vans, I think, that's not 5 metres from their back to the wall.
I've walked past several times and I don't think they are as well.
No, I mean,
This has been, I mean, it's a separate issue, but this has been a few things to do with the site have been pointed out to Cornwall Council, and they seem to be quite happy with what's going on there.
Because, I mean, if you look at that, the scale they're giving there is 9 metres. So half of that line is 4.5 metres. And that distance there is less than 4.5 metres. So I think
For explaining it better.
Yeah. But if we're to do with licensing, how are we then with units? Which one's selling alcohol? Unit 2.
Unit 1 and Unit 2.
Unit 1 and Unit 2. And live music outside and inside being broadcast with residential above.
I'll quickly mention the Annex 2 conditions on a premises licence are ones that are put forward by the applicant in the application process. Looking at the prevention of crime and disorder, stroke protection of children from harm, the challenge 25 wording needs to be more robust. That is not uncommon with a lot of the applications that we see. There is also mention of children being supervised, but that the wording on that needs to be they're going to have children are going to be allowed on the site. That needs to be worded much better. So it's too woolly, it's too vague. In terms of prevention of public nuisance, which is the noise side of it, monitoring and control of music volumes will be monitored and controlled.
Karen?
Well, they're not really monitored at the moment. Unit 1 and 2, they're saying they're doing the licence bit from there. I have a problem with the music. It's totally residential on Hope Terrace and Tower Road, and at 9 o'clock at night.
Is this your experience or people who
Yeah, no, I've
you?
just heard it. At the moment, the music is coming from the other unit, Unit 3, and there's picnic benches out in that customer area that is now there. And the music's blasting out at the moment. So they're wanting to get a licence till 9 o'clock at night, I understand. 9:30. And I don't understand, because the bar currently, I don't know if there is a bar, but they're serving drinks of some sort, is from the main area, Unit 3.
Which is a TENS licence, so that's a temporary events notice.
That's right. So they're serving the drinks from there, and the music's blasting out from there. Picnic benches and food trucks. I haven't got a problem with the food trucks or the picnic benches, but I think once you put in live music in the mix, and they're just recorded music.
Joanna, Do I need to?
I thought they were allowed to have live music until 11 o'clock. What's the...
They have applied for it. What you're referring to is the Live Music Act 2012, but they have. We can comment on this because it is on the application. But it's basically venues up to 500 people
This is the
can
classic
have
one
live
from-
music until 11 p.m. without actually having it on their licence. Doesn't mean that they're immune from noise complaints and that Cornwall Council noise officer could go in and go, this isn't acceptable, you've got to stop doing it. But they have included it on the application, and so you are in a position to comment on it.
This is a classic case of where we need to be in the room. So,
I'm just thinking of 83 when, we did get that reflection sound panelling on the road. This is completely open site. And with, residential around it and above it, I think I'm happy to propose representation on that.
I just said it's a shame that they haven't come here to talk it through with us, because
Yeah.
I think that would have
Yes.
been a little bit
Yeah.
more community minded.
Yeah. So do.
All I was saying is there must be a way to object to the music outside, because that's going to cause more problems than anything.
So do I have a second for the representation? Karen, I think. All those in favour of representation? Yeah.
can we include that the clientele are likely to make noises as well that will disturb?
Yeah,
the-
I think there is just a joy,
I mean, I love the idea of having an open air food thing, but perhaps not under my windows.
Yeah. And of course, and they're putting in for Wednesdays as well as live music. So this is all year round. So this can be term time as well. And it is different to 83, which do stuff at weekends. So as their focus. So yeah. So I think if we can, and the main concerns I think seem to be noise at the moment. Duncan, do we need to put that as to why we're representation is to?
Here's a plan. The deadline for responses for this is the 9th, and you next meet on the 8th. So if you're happy, I'll probably revisit the Project 83 objection that we put in regarding the outdoor music, and just put together a form of words. You could then have a look at that when you meet on the 8th, and if you're happy with it, submit it the following day or tweak it as you see fit. But if I put a form of words together, I'll email that round to the committee well in advance of the meeting, so that you can sort of digest it and come back with any comments. And then you could have sort of hopefully what would be close to a finished draft. That you could all see and just say, yes, we're happy with this, or no, it needs to be tweaked a bit.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah?
Can I propose we extend the meeting another hour, please? All those in favour? No. Right. Nick, are you disappearing off? Normal. Cinderella's.
No, my
shoes
8:15 has been cancelled this week. They don't want it.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you. Gosh, we haven't even got to planning yet.
No, there's not too much there.
Um,
In fact, we've only got one application left.
Okay, right. Do we need a break? Duncan, do you need a break? Yes. Can we just have a 5-minute break, please? Back, sorry about that. Okay, licensing updates, please, Duncan.
Very, very briefly, Papa John's, 52 East Street, their premises licence application. The hearing was scheduled for 10 a.m. this morning, but we were informed late last week that, on the advice of their solicitor, the application had been formally withdrawn.
So, I mean, well, the plans didn't bear any resemblance to what they put in.
No. Papa John's is the pizza.
Oh, the pizza one. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
That wanted to stay open till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Opposite.
I have something else to report relating to that that's come out of this that I was really, really disturbed about. We based our objection, our representation, on the fact that it was in the CIZ or CIA, the Cumulative Impact Area for Newquay. I was informed, again last week, that the cumulative impact areas for Newquay, Falmouth, Penzance and Truro have all lapsed. I don't know if there are any Cornwall councillors in the room that would be able to look into this. I have been told that I have been told that's because one of the responsible authorities had not provided their, because these things are based on stats and information provided by people like the police, etc. And I was told that this has happened because one of those responsible authorities hasn't returned any information. However, I could not find any evidence of a licensing committee meeting that has raised this.
I can ask Julie Joe or something.
It would be really interesting. I got in touch with my counterpart in Truro and I said, have Cornwall Council told you that you don't have a CIZ anymore? And they were blissfully unaware, and I suspect that would be the same in Penzance and in Falmouth. The CIZ is a real sort of kind of cornerstone of the Cornwall Council's licensing policy. The fact that these areas have lapsed, speaking as a former licensing officer, it's really worrying because that's what helps town councils to keep a grip on alcohol licensing and not getting too out of hand.
So, yeah, okay.
And the other one is Piccolo Grande.
Yeah.
You'll be aware that we were assured the premises would match the plans by the time the licence was issued. The licence has been issued. I've not wandered past, but I don't know if anybody else has.
No.
But
Ho-hum. Right, okay. Right, previous planning applications, ratifying decisions and whatnot.
5-day protocols, Porth Beach Hotel, Alexandra Road. 6 councillors responded. A majority of you agreed to disagree with the officer recommendation to approve. The Killercourt Field, the Crescent, this would have been the drainage around the statue, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
5 councillors responded, all choosing to agree with the officer's recommendation to approve. And I believe that you submitted comments regarding the grading, which actually made it a better application, and so you're all quite happy to say yes to it. Thank you very much to everybody who responded. We just need to ratify those.
I propose that we follow due process and happy to ratify. Seconder? Yes. Yeah. Sandy, all those in favour? Yeah, thank you. That was everybody.
Then I think Nick was going to...
Oh, and Nick, yes, you want to highlight an issue.
Yeah, it's a planning issue. It's not a licensing issue. So I don't quite know where you want me to put it in there.
No, this is planning.
This is
planning.
Right. I've wandered past, and have you got the photo, Duncan, that I sent you on email?
I haven't, no.
Right, I've wandered past the Turkish kitchen down the bottom. At East Street. They are building something, but it doesn't resemble anything like they had the last time that they lost during Storm Goretti. So I'm just wondering, has it actually got planning permission?
So we're in a position that we can ask Duncan to put forward something to planning enforcement. So Nick, do you want to propose that?
Yes, please.
Seconder? Sandy seconding. All those in favour of Duncan putting in planning enforcement notice?
Come back and tell us if it does.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is, when you go down there, it's all breeze blocks and everything. They're putting up a structure, a solid structure, as opposed to the wooden framed plastic stuff that they had there before.
We did previously look at a planning application for one of the others.
Yeah.
For that kind of construction.
Yeah.
I did have a look. I can't find anything that suggests that there's a planning application out there. So
Yeah, if they can just...
there probably should be. So
Yeah, consensus to that and what it's going to look like, for instance. Brilliant, thank you, Nick, for highlighting that. Right, planning applications. List 1. Hang on, let me just dig up list 1. Then I've got to scroll back up the screen. And then I've got to go down this screen. Right, so how many did we have? 1. So we put on then for list 1 a PA 26/03955 41 Well Way, which was demolition of the existing conservatory and erection of a new one in the back garden. And we looked at this and it's completely in keeping. It's not changing any views or anything in the back garden, so that's why we recommended support for this. So, Sandy, do you want to? Oh, I was going to say, if you wanted to propose it, Sandy. Do you want to propose it? Seconder, Nick. All those in favour of this, supporting this? It's fun.
You wonder why they need planning permission.
So that's a vote to agree the recommended response. So I'll return that. I'll return that tomorrow for you.
Thank you.
Shyland Crescent, is that how you pronounce it? Shyland, Shyland?
I don't know.
Okay, so it's this house here on the corner, and we can have a nice look at street view for it. This property here, okay. Yeah,
Do you want to, over there, do you want to scan around and see there's like, so if you hold that, yeah, that view and all that, they're all the same. They're all like bungalows with the tarred roofs and the, yeah, okay.
So, in 2018, this committee gave its support to an application for a loft conversion based around a full-length rear-facing dormer plus a single-storey rear extension. If we go around the corner a bit, that's the full-length rear-facing dormer. Okay. This application, well, I mean, to put it simply, it wants to do the same on the front, and then they want to build over the garage. It's kind of quite straightforward in terms of documents. I'm not going to do that.
I love the way they say balance.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to...
Big one on the back, this and big one on the
The design and access statement is really helpful because it's got a, if it'll open, it's got, so we're kind of looking at this as it is, and then if we look at go back to this, the front page of the DNA statement, you can see they have added another dormer of the type that we just looked at a moment ago that's on the rear, and then they are building over the garage. No increase in the footprint whatsoever, and it's probably worth pointing out that this and many other properties have had various sorts of loft conversions, some of which have rear dormers, so we wouldn't be able to see them from that street scene. But there are. What I'm saying is there are. Although this is Bungalowville, there are a lot of properties that are using that void space, be it through some form of loft conversion. Anyway. So we're told that the rear dormer approved in 2020 created 3 first floor rooms in the upstairs, 3 room in the roof bedrooms they describe them as. 2 of those have compromised headroom, obviously, because you've got kind of a rather than a wall like that, you've got one like that. In terms of materials and appearance, in addition to the extensions, the changed roof shape, which is effectively now going to be sort of square rather than pitched, means that the roof covering would have to change. I think it's a concrete tile at the moment, and obviously not round the back because they've they've cut a great big hole. They've cut a great big hole in the roof. So what they're looking to do, if they do get permission to put this another dormer on, is have a standing seam metal roof finish. So effectively, almost like the same kind of thing that we see a lot on these sort of more modern flat roof
sink roof
houses that proposals that we see. They're also looking to replace these sort of kind of barge boards and gutters and stuff like that to sort of lift the property a bit. And we could have a quick look at the that's your existing set of elevations. That's your proposed, so existing, proposed, and we can take that down. Existing, proposed.
So,
I don't understand the original existing pointy bits in the bottom left.
Yeah.
The existing pointy bit, that's sort of disappeared. Is that because bottom left there, below, yeah?
So they are lifting the roof. There's the outline. Oh, sorry, Duncan. There's the outline of the garage here. That's the outline of. So the roof is going to be lifted, and then this new pitched roof here is quite a substantial pitched roof. Sorry, that's.
So it's not just a question of putting dormers on the existing roof.
No, you've then got a whole pitched roof at an angle compared to everything else in the road as well. And that's quite a length. Well, it's the whole width of the house. So you've got a whole new pitched east facing.
Could I clarify?
Yeah.
The reason that this here sits above the ridge, the pointy bit, as we call it, is because what you're looking at there is the over garage bit. So this ridge right here, along the length of the property.
I don't know what you're saying here and there.
Sorry. This remains the same. That's not that height isn't increased. What you're looking at here you've got the dotted line of the building as it is at the moment. That sits higher than this because of this bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they are completely.
So it's not the whole roof that's going higher, it's just that mono pitch. Does that make sense?
So
It doesn't make sense.
So are they replacing the roof? I mean, that's what I'm.
no, the ridge is still there. If you look at it, and I mean that's the rear dormer. Yeah.
Yeah, hang on, I'll show you, I'll tell you what, I'll just zoom in on this one, right? Just, that's looking at it from the other side. So you see that they've got
Yeah.
the roof still,
So that bit there.
and
Yeah.
they've got two dormers now, and then this large bit that you can see at the back that's higher than everything else. Is that?
Right.
Yeah. So
Over the garage.
ridge height of the existing ridge height of the bungalow doesn't change, but the over garage bit the mono pitch roof is a little bit higher than the current ridge height.
The dormers are actually. Is that the line above the blue windows? Is that the?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
So I mean it's a huge mass increase of that compared to the neighbours. So very much a change in the street scene. That's why we brought it up for discussion. Nick.
I'm just wondering about the terracing effect, because there would be a terracing effect on that road because it comes up around the corner and back down again. So
Yeah, I
from
mean,
there,
Not raising the ridge height, Nick.
but on the end, it might be because of that end of the building, it
Yeah,
might
but-
be higher than the one across the road. That's what I'm thinking. The bit that goes over the top of the garage.
No, well, it's substantially higher because we're on a slope here compared to the house here. You're still going to have the terracing effect going down. It's still got quite a bit.
It's not good. That
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. That one towers over this. It's not going. I don't think so. Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I don't think.
So-
I don't think it's the case, though.
Have we got windows now facing the house opposite? Are we creating new views on that end, or is it just the sloping roof? Have they got windows in that sloping roof,
Let's
which are effectively going to be
think.
or are they just skylights? That's
Yeah, so you've got that window there,
yeah.
which is at quite a low level compared to the house, and then you've got. I think that they're skylights. Yeah, it does say solar panels, but yeah.
Yeah, over here. Yeah, so they're pointing upwards. And these two windows, what are they in relation to the neighbour to the side here, these two windows here?
Big junction.
But that's quite, that window.
So they're rear facing, and there's already rear facing
Facing
views
views,
because
isn't
this dormer is already in place. So I don't think that that's going to result in any greater loss of privacy.
But the front facing, I mean, there are no front facing dormers in that road. Yeah, Joanna?
I was just going to say that I've just looked at when they got permission, which is 2018, and our comment was quite brief, which was support because the precedent had already been set. But that was for rear dormers.
Yeah, yeah.
So now we're looking
Neighbours.
at, are there any front doors? Can you swing around?
No.
and have a look?
It's
No.
This is a 2020 image, so it is well out of date. I
So
had a
that-
quick look and I couldn't see
No.
any permissions around here that
No.
have been sort of similar to this in any way. That's
So-
not a scientific
We did-
investigation. I just had a quick look.
We did give, the planning permission went through, if you go on round the corner to the right and up, then we did. But remember, just a few weeks ago, we had that with the front and the rear dormers come in just round the corner, and we objected to that in terms of a big impact and change on street scene. It's with the front dormer. The rear one, I mean, yeah, I mean, the neighbours have got rear dormer. You can see it there as well as they've having a rear dormer. You know, it's rear dormer central. And and I think there's a reason why there haven't been front dormers. And this would be setting quite a big precedent. And it's effectively making it clearly into a house. That's what it's going to look like at the front.
Is there a difference? If they could, for the sake of argument, could they just put something on the garage roof without putting the dormer on the rest of it? Would that cause us a problem? Yes, because it's quite tall, isn't it?
It's going to be
big. It's a very big extension.
Yeah,
putting on the
it's a big mass, Joe.
So I think I'm going to make a proposal to object. Scalar mass on the over the garage, not in the dormer, not in keeping with the street scene.
Yeah, the front dormer.
And anything else that anybody else wants to chip in.
Yeah.
Have a seconder? Or?
Yeah.
That was actually what my hand was up for, to second it.
Okay.
So, all right.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting.
Can I add the point, setting a precedent for the actual street, because there isn't another one anywhere in that area.
Yeah, I think that Joe was on. Yeah, have they got anything about solar panels and all the G2 stuff as well?
They have included solar panels.
They have included
as part
panels.
of the design.
It's interesting. It was on the news with the heat waves that places which have zinc roofs, that they're up to over 80 degrees centigrade on top of a zinc roof. So whether people really want to think of that in the face of changing climate at the moment, yeah. Anything else that anybody wants to add to this? That's quite right. So all those in favour of objection? Okay, brilliant, thank you. Brilliant. Right, sorry, go back down here, scrolling down. Oh, terms of reference, okay.
I'll quickly dive in. I'll just say, as you'll be aware, you've been asked to consider a number of changes to the committee's terms of reference. Further discussion is set to take place. The question of whether or not to adopt these changes will be included as a decision item in our next scheduled meeting, 8th of July.
Okay, neighbourhood priority statement.
Can I say something? I can now attend that meeting, whereas I said I couldn't.
Yeah, okay, well, we need to quickly get through this if we're going to have any chance of discussing it at all. So, neighbourhood priority statement.
Right, very quickly then. As I mentioned at the last meeting, we need to set up a steering group. I think a first step towards this was what Joanna said, which would be to set up a working party and instruct me to invite interest from the wider council. And I think, I think that's, having thought it through a little better, I think that, yes.
Do we have to set up a steering group before we apply, make the application to be considered?
We've already registered our interest.
Oh, we've registered already.
Yeah, we've done that. So there are two things really. We set up the steering group, which is, I think you're quite right. We need a working party in place to start doing that work. That steering group is going to be is going to be quite important, and it probably needs to be driven forward by several councillors. And then the other aspect of this, if you're happy to this evening, is to designate the neighbourhood area for our neighbourhood priority statement. So I think there's two decisions here that I'm hoping to have from you. One is a proposal to set up a working party, and as I say, I will email around anybody in the room who's interested. Please say now, and I will email around. I think that we said a concise paragraph just explaining what the heck we're on about with the neighbourhood priority statement, and I'll send that round to the wider council.
Can I just expand on that? I think this is a really, really good opportunity, particularly for new councillors, to actually create something positive and know how the systems work and really get to know, like with Newquay, sort of like with planning and beyond. because I know quite a few, of newbie councillors find it quite frustrating that they're not contributing to something, and they're not, creating something or doing something with the wider community. And so that could be a really good way forward for doing that, because this will hold weight going into the future for planning, but also feeding in, working in with the coastal management plan they're working on. And it's really, getting to know how systems work, getting to know, like for, with Cornwall Council and what we can actually do and all those sorts of things. I just think it's a good way forward, and I'd really encourage as many councillors as possible to be involved on the working party for this. No pressure or anything.
If you don't want to commit now, I'm going to send an email around to everybody with a little bit more illustration. It'll give people who are involved a really good footing for when we redo the neighbourhood plan.
Right, yeah.
Can I just say, we had a meeting on this idea of having a coastal change management plan, which was very interesting, and that's very creative. Some odd comments were coming back. They were sort of downgrading neighbourhood plans. They were saying now they've removed all the grants. They seem to be implying, I mean, they weren't planning specialists, but they seem to be implying that, that neighbourhood plans would not be the flavour of the month. Now, I don't think there's much wrong with our neighbourhood plan, and it's perfectly easy to refresh it. But they do seem to be implying that that's one the new local plan is. Yeah. And the other thing that was just interesting was they are now calling back the designation of coastal change management areas into Cornwall Council, as opposed to us managing to declare it through our neighbourhood plan, which again I thought was interesting. So just as well we did it when we did.
So
I want to ask one question, and then it's a question to Duncan. Because I'm on the Saints Close Planning Partnership, do I have a conflict of interest? Because if not, then I'm interested.
no, you won't. No, you don't have a conflict of interest. I'm on this. No. So I'm happy to propose the working parties created. Can I have a seconder? Yeah. Yeah, Sandy seconded. All those in favour? Yeah, that's everyone for that.
So the other aspect then is submitting a request to designate the neighbourhood area for our MPS. Yes, indeed. But it's, I'll just very, very quickly, he says, very, very quickly go over it. That's the area that we're talking about. I just want to be like kind of completely sort of clear and open about what we're talking about. We need to formally write to Cornwall Council to designate the area for our neighbourhood priority statement. Everything I've read said that this should be our town boundary, what we're looking at here. And I believe that we instruct the town clerk to write to Cornwall Council in order to designate this area. There is a form letter provided for it, so it's quite easy to fill in. But really what I'm asking of you here is that you agree that this will be the area, and that you're going to instruct the town clerk to write to Cornwall Council.
I'm happy to propose.
Saying that this will be the area.
Propose that. Seconder? Nick, is that you seconding this time? Yeah, we need the finger and actually, yes, in the seconding. Thank you. Okay, Karen.
I just wondered, can we extend it at all outside of the parish?
No.
No, we wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So all those in favour? Yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
Crack on with that then.
Thank you. Any reports from working parties? We've nothing's. Oh right, okay, Joanna. Thing it on. On,
Don't take this diagram away. Nick has just said to me, what's that bit that's stuck up in the middle between the railway and the road? Because it doesn't look right, does it?
No.
We have been trying, they recommended when they did the community governance review, the working party recommended that the parish be extended to include that. That is where all the new housing is going, as the Newquay Urban Extension. We have been exchanging, and Duncan has been exchanging emails with Cornwall Council saying we'd like to look at this again because they seem to be doing a mini governance review. And our strongest argument is, I think really we ought to do south of the road as well, but we'll never get that, so one step at a time.
Looks silly.
Yeah.
well, when the point I think I put in an email link sometime was that we've had the argument thrown back at us when we, like with the Atlantic and with St Colin Minor, about ironing out bumps, didn't we? That we lost our planning appeals because we're meant to be ironing out bumps. So I'd say that that is definitely a bump. And also here, that bump. And I'd say there's probably some other bumps here. Well, okay, well, the River Gannel. All right, we'll go with that one. But I think definitely that there, and these bumps to make smooth boundaries. And
So Duncan, where are we with this exchange of emails?
Right, so if I recall rightly,
Oh yes.
they want
He
quite
wanted us to do something more formal, didn't he?
Yeah. So Cornwall. So we were asked by Cornwall Council to register our interest in this. This is a matter for full council. So I think it will be up to this committee to put a recommendation towards full council that we involve ourselves in this.
And that's not till September, is it?
Yeah, and I think that they've given us a little bit of a dispensation because I think that next full council is 2nd of September, and I think that and I think that we need to respond by the end of that week.
Right.
So we've work to do between now and September to get this to full council, and hopefully full council will support the idea.
Do we need to reinstate the community governance working party to sort of work in the background to present a case?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Is that what we're looking at, rather than try and do it in open forum?
I think it probably needs a working party.
Yeah, so I'm happy to propose the reinstatement of the Community Governance Working Party.
I will second, and I will register interest in that as well, I suppose.
And again, if we can invite interest across the council.
Okay, yeah. All those in favour of that? Yeah, we're all in there. Yeah.
So who was your seconder then?
Nick seconded himself.
Me and a registered interest in being on the committee as well. On the working party, should I say.
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to send an email out to everybody,
Yeah.
so just reply
And
to
everyone
that,
can
yeah.
respond. Yeah, I think that will need a paragraph of explanation as well, because beyond planning, then people don't understand like how the boundary works and things. But I think, you know, quoting those two planning applications about
That's the cracking illustration.
yeah, for that outline. Yeah.
The bits we want as well there.
Well, it's
If you explain the two bits we want, people will understand what we,
ironing out the
what we're
boundaries,
actually after.
particularly that lump, which is then designated, delineated by that main road. Right. Okay. Phew. Parking.
Only to say that we now have the freedom of information, thank you Duncan, for the 2025-26 parking. I'm particularly interested in Tregonwell Hill for some reason or other. I think it's quite, because what they give us is the number of tickets that they sell. And if you compare year on year, it's well worth having a play. The tickets they are much the same, but what's changed is that most of the tickets now, or the majority, are now long-term parking, 24 hours a week. What we've lost is the 2 or 3 hour parking. Of course, that's the sort of people who go into town. And I think that is the difference. And is this valuable to our high street? I'm desperately not trying to comment on the likely development because I'm on planning. But are you circulating those things to everybody, Duncan?
No, tell me what you want to do
Would
with
you
it.
all like to see the planning figures? They are very interesting, and we do also have some historic ones if you are interested.
I think we've got
Like
4
playing
years
with
worth. I think
numbers.
we've got 4 years worth now.
Yeah.
But it's,
Is there a way of putting it into a digestible format?
Analysis.
It's fairly digestible. It's on a spreadsheet. I don't like the presentation they've done this time so much. Before, it was a spreadsheet, and you just went across each tab was a different car park. And they give you the sort of money, but what's interesting is the type of tickets. This particular, the latest is not quite the same. It's sort of everything is in one single spreadsheet. It is actually, it sounds frightening, but when you look at it, it's really quite easy.
One of the other interesting things before Karen comes in is that Newquay's car parks contribute Cornwall Council 2 million. Didn't you totted them up over £2 million?
We are by Truro. I thought we were beating Truro, but they did manage to tip.
Yeah, but I mean, well.
But they do have a better trade in the winter than we do. That's why they beat us.
I wanted to say just because people are parking 24 hours at Tregonwell doesn't mean to say that they're not coming into town. But they're still coming into town. There's the only, it's not a given just because they're staying there longer in that car park.
It's the passing trade that, for some reason, our footfall is down. If you have a look at the footfall figures as well,
I don't think it's a given.
The footfall is down.
Because they're parking there for 24 hours, they might be staying with friends, they might be doing whatever, but they're still coming into town. I would say so.
Footfall numbers are down.
No, we've received no other correspondence.
Oh, sorry, right. Weekly decisions list. There was something on that had been withdrawn, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah, there was, wasn't there?
Yeah. Most things got approved and withdrawn. It was 34 Parkland Close, which was the one up the top round the corner from what we've just looked
similar
at.
To the planning application.
Yeah, and that's been withdrawn. It was ginormous. Yeah. No. Right. Okay. So now I need to go scan back down this. We've looked at item 16. Yep. Date of next meeting is Wednesday, the 8th of July. Yeah. And we'll see everybody then. I think that's it from close the meeting. Brilliant. Thank you, everyone.
Can I just ask, I put my diary